welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So the travel wasn't too bad to get here? I know
It was
the weather
not.
was. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
So last time we had a little bit of time after the intake process, and we spoke about your troubles with sleeping,
We did.
insomnia.
Yes.
Where would you like to begin today?
We can start there
Okay.
because I had some issues sleeping this weekend.
Okay. Well, tell me about those.
Yeah, so I had told you during our last meeting that alcohol has been a problem for me lately,
Yes.
and my girlfriend and I were doing Sober October, where you don't drink for the whole month of October.
Okay.
But then we got distracted by some Halloween parties this weekend.
I see.
Yeah, so we went out Friday night, had a little too much to drink. And we went out Saturday night and also had a little too much to drink. So then when that happened, I started feeling really anxious and had some trouble sleeping this weekend.
I see. Okay. Did you enjoy yourself?
I enjoyed myself while we were out.
Okay.
I did not enjoy myself after the alcohol wore off.
Okay, and the reason I ask, not making light of the situation at all, is, self-care and pleasurable activities, especially with friends, is encouraged. That's a good thing to help, and it can actually, those positive feelings can actually help with sleeping. So what I'm hearing is that you've been trying to live a sober life. You mentioned Sober October. It's something that you're working on. But this past weekend, for 2 days, you drank how many drinks?
A lot.
A lot.
I may have lost count.
You may have lost count. Okay, so if you had to put it into like cup amounts or glasses, how many glasses of alcohol would you say you had?
Maybe 8 to 10.
8 to 10. Okay.
Per night.
Oh, okay. All right. So what is it exactly that you're looking for from therapy? Because what I'm hearing is, on the one hand, you want to be sober, but on the other hand, you went out and had 8 to 10 drinks 2 nights in a row.
I did.
What are you looking for?
I've recognized in the last year or so that I have been using alcohol to calm my mind.
Okay.
In an attempt to shut it off, and I realized recently that it's become a problem.
Okay, so it's not helping to shut your mind off.
It shuts my mind off while I'm doing it, and then it just makes everything worse. And it really bothers me that I don't have control over it anymore. I don't feel like I have control over it anymore anyhow.
Okay. Now, when you say you don't have control over it, what do you mean? What's the it?
Once I start drinking, I can't stop.
Okay, so you're having trouble stopping drinking.
I'm having trouble with moderation, yes.
Okay. And do you find that you sleep better or worse after drinking?
Definitely worse.
Worse. Okay. So last time we spoke, you also mentioned that you had recently broken up with Eric.
Yes.
This was your long-term boyfriend.
Yes.
Can you sort of touch on more of that?
Yeah, so we had been dating for a few years. We lived together for a few years. I thought everything was good. And then we hit a bit of a rough patch. And what I do in relationships when things get rough is I leave. I turn and run.
Okay.
I'm very bad at communication. I'm very bad at sitting down and talking to someone and saying, here's my problem. Let's talk through this. Which is also something I would like to work through with you.
Absolutely.
Because I want to be able to be in a relationship where I can communicate.
I see. So you and Eric, you felt, had a good relationship. And so then you noticed that you were struggling to communicate with him. And did he end the relationship or did you?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think I probably did, just because I didn't want to sit down and say, here's our problems, because I didn't even know what they were. Let's work through them. It was like, I don't have the time or the energy for this. Yeah.
Can you give me some examples of where you struggled with him with communication?
Yes, so he's a few years younger.
Okay.
And he was always the life of the party. He did a lot of partying. I actually was never a drinker until him and I started dating. And it was like we were having people over every night. We were going somewhere every night.
So he was the big drinker in the relationship.
He was.
Okay.
He was the life of the party. Everyone loved when Eric showed up. And I liked being a part of that. Him and I actually started dating shortly after I broke off an engagement. And I think I turned to him just to go have fun with him.
So you were attracted to the energy of him being that dynamic life of the party,
Very
enjoying
much.
the atmosphere, drinking.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it developed into a relationship, and we were in a relationship for a long time. And I think that was always what I saw it as. So I never saw a future with him necessarily, but we had fun together, and I thought we were happy. And I think a future is something he wanted to discuss, or at least have something to say, hey, we're working towards this.
Okay. So you were happy with where you felt the relationship was, but it sounds like you recognized at some point that he had a different vision of where the relationship was and where he wanted to go. Did I get that right?
You did, yes.
Okay. And how did you feel once you recognized that he wanted something else?
I left.
You left.
I did.
Okay. So
and I don't mean to laugh, but that's what I do is I turn and leave when things get serious.
Yeah.
And I don't like that about myself.
Okay. Yeah, and let's touch on that because I noticed you use the word bad when referring to communication, but you also state that you want to work on that. That's something that you want to improve on. Did he struggle to communicate with you as well? Was he able to communicate his feelings prior to the breakup?
He was not great at it, and I think probably because I was not extremely receptive to it.
Okay. Well, I like the word choice. That's good. Good insight that you're displaying there, is you have some awareness that you both struggled with communication. So I want to make sure that you recognize that the blame in a relationship can go both ways in terms of the struggling with the communication piece, because you use words like bad. And if you could give me another feeling word, like how does it make you feel to recognize that you are bad at communication?
It makes me feel extremely immature, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. Because I'm 40 years old, I want to be a grown-up and be able to sit down with my significant other and say, this is what I'm feeling. How do you feel about that? But I don't feel like I can do that right now.
I see. And I'm noticing you're fidgeting a little bit. Does it make you uncomfortable to admit that?
It does.
Okay. Elizabeth, what I'm hearing is that you're looking for some help with communication, that you feel that you're not acting at age level, that you are immature, were your words, and you are having some difficulties with drinking, with sleeping, and you feel that the communication between you and Eric broke down. I believe in the intake papers, you stated that there were incomprehensible differences that emerged. And so you're here looking for a couple of things. Some relief from alcohol. You admit that it's a problem for you.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to change direction with that. And at the same time, you want help with communication. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, at this point, I'd like to give you some information maybe that could be of use to you. And you can make the decision as to what's right for you.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a couple programs that we do offer. We do have AA meetings here in the building. They're not facilitated by me, but another social worker that I could get you connected with if you'd be comfortable with that.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never considered doing it before. It makes me nervous, the thought of getting up and sharing with people.
Yeah, so you feel nervous about sort of divulge in some of your personal information.
Definitely.
Okay.
Do I have to share at those meetings?
You do not. So you can just start by coming in and sort of listening to the program, listening to the stories, and it will move at your pace. Whenever you feel comfortable, you can share. You can also seek sponsorship to sort of hold you accountable to the STEP program.
Okay, great.
So that it's totally up to you as to how far you want to take this with that avenue. And the other program that we offer is also Zoom meeting sessions that are group oriented, where you can participate anonymously as well.
Oh.
So they do have a webcam and a microphone component that will work with any software device or hardware device, I should say, that you can use it at home in your pajamas if you wish.
Great.
And it would function the same. The only difference is there's no sponsorship that you could seek as a component of that. We do offer that as well.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other piece you may want to work on is maybe just some listening and communication skills. Because you mentioned that you were having difficulties with communication in this relationship. I believe you mentioned last time that you had recently changed relationships prior to the 2-year relationship with Eric. Did I get that right?
You did, yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about that? Because it seems like it was a really fast turnaround between the ending of that relationship and this one.
And it was. I was engaged to be married.
Okay.
And that ended also very abruptly. And I had known Eric for quite a few years. So when I ended my engagement, he kind of swooped in and was like, "Hey, I know you're sad. Come hang out with us." and I did, because I was looking for, I had a huge void in my life that needed to be filled, and that was how it started off just as friends, and then it just developed into a relationship. So I don't think, properly healed from breaking off that engagement.
Okay. So you didn't get any closure from the prior relationship.
Right.
He just sort of came in and sort of like was your knight in shining armor.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you indicated feeling happy at him coming in and sort of intervening in sort of that negative period for you.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So just to kind of summarize everything that we've covered today, because it's a lot, is we started out with discussing your difficulty with sleeping. You indicate that it's been crippling insomnia for the last 20 years. You find that you struggle to sleep more when you drink more, and you're having 8 to 10 drinks when you drink. You indicate that you drink more on weekends than during the week. You mentioned that you've been drinking to kind of take your mind off of some of the anxiety and sadness that you feel at the end of the relationship with Eric. But that the alcohol isn't helping give you relief. The relief is temporary. And so you're looking for some help and also wanting to understand maybe its connection to the breakup with Eric and troubles with communication. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you came to the right place, and I could certainly help you.
Thank you.
So I want you to at least take some comfort in that. I know that this is a difficult time for you, but don't panic, because we can do this. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss with our remaining time?
No, I think we covered it all.
Okay. And I'm available by phone or email. If you need to get back in, we can have an emergency session. Did you, because I don't see this in the paperwork, did you want to have meetings once a week, twice a week? What do you feel comfortable with?
I would love to do once a week.
Once a week, okay. Okay. All right. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for coming in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.